The storm desk. Read the storm. Book the roofs. The storm filled your schedule, your crews are flat out, and the bank account still won't grow. You're busy and broke at the same time. Here's why. The cost per square number in your head is too small. A square is 100 square feet of roof. The number you carry has the shingles and the install in it, and almost nothing else. By the end of this, you'll know how to build your true cost per square from the ground up. Then price it so the busy season actually pays you. No magic national number. Yours, on this roof, that you can defend. Start with what the word square hides. A square is a quantity unit, like a board foot. It tells you the area and nothing else. Not the pitch, the access, the number of stories, or how many layers come off and tear off. Two roofs with the same square count can cost you wildly different amounts to build. So when a competitor brags 450 a square, that number is meaningless until you know what's inside it. Stop treating cost per square like a price you look up. It's a result you calculate. Step 1. Measure sellable squares and document waste on its own line. Sellable squares are the net roof area you're covering, plane by plane. That's your denominator. Waste is the extra material, eaten by cuts at hips and valleys, starter, ridge overlap, and breakage. Pick the waste factor on purpose, not by habit. A simple gable runs about 10%. A cut-up roof with valleys, dormers, and turrets runs 15 to 20. A measurement miss is the most expensive error you can make, because it scales off every square. Don't bury scope inside a fat waste number, a decking allowance, a chimney reflash, a steep assist setup, a long disposal carry. Those are their own line items, not padding hidden in waste. When you bury scope in waste, two things break. You can't explain your price to the customer, and your job history goes useless, because you can't see why one square costs more than another. Keep them split. Future you, reviewing a job that went sideways, needs that. Step 2. Cost the real material system off a live quote. Material is usually your largest single direct cost, often near a third of job revenue, so don't price it from memory. Cost the whole system the manufacturer will warranty, not a generic shingles line. Field shingle, starter, ridge cap, underlayment, ice and water barrier, drip edge, flashing, ventilation, fasteners, and a decking allowance for the rot you can't see until tear-off. Asphalt, steel, and freight all move with input prices. A price book built in winter is wrong by spring. Pull a current quote and write its expiration date down. Step 3 is the one most roofers get wrong. Fully burden your labor. A roofer you pay $30 an hour does not cost you $30 an hour. Burden is everything you pay on top of the wage. The employer's share of payroll taxes, unemployment, paid time, benefits, and workers' comp. Across construction, burden commonly runs 30 to 60% over base wage, and roofing sits at the high end because it carries some of the steepest comp rates in the trade. That's the fall risk, priced in, cost labor at the burdened rate every time. Your comp rate isn't a fixed national number, it's your state's roofing rate, multiplied by your experience modification rate. The EMR is a score that compares your claims history to your peers. The National Council on Compensation Insurance calculates it off about 3 years of loss data. A 1.0 is average. Below it earns a discount. Above it is a surcharge that multiplies your premium up. So two roofers paying the same wage in the same state can carry very different labor costs, purely on safety record. A clean record is a line item on your price. Now turn burdened labor into cost per square. You need a production rate the squares your crew lays in a day on this roof. Say a 4-person crew costs you $1,400 burden for the day. On a simple roof, they lay 25 squares. That's $56 a square. Put the same crew on a steep, cut-up 2-story, and they manage 12. Now it's about $117 a square. More than double. Same crew, same wage. A blanket labor per square number lies to you. Step 4. Add the cost the roof doesn't get built without. Safety first, and it's a cost, not a hope. OSHA generally requires fall protection at 6 feet or more in residential construction, and requires you to provide the gear. A crew that's properly tied off works a little slower, and that slower legal production rate is the one you cost. Then equipment and disposal. Dumpster, tipping fees, permits, a lift on a steep roof. The same 30 squares in an open subdivision and a downtown row house with no driveway are not the same cost. Logistics is the gap. 2 more buckets in step 4, and roofers skip them constantly. Overhead and finance. Overhead is everything that keeps the doors open but doesn't attach to one job. Office rent, the estimator's salary, trucks, software, insurance, marketing, your own pay. Every square you sell carries a slice of it. Then finance and collection. Card processing, often around 3% of anything run on a card. Commissions, financing fees, warranty reserve, a callback allowance. A job that pencils profitable can still hurt you if the money lands late or carries fees. Step 5 is the one that quietly bankrupts good roofers. Markup is not margin. Markup measures profit against your cost. Margin measures profit against your price. They're never the same number. Take a square that truly costs you $300 and mark it up 40%. You sell it for $420. Your markup is 40%, but your gross margin is only 28.6. You thought you kept 40 cents on the dollar. You kept under 29. That gap is pure, invisible underpricing, repeating on every job until you fix the math. Here's the fix. Stop marking up. Price straight from your target margin. Price equals true cost divided by 1 minus your target margin. Want 35% margin on that $300 square? 300 divided by 0.65 is $461.50. No confusion, no leakage. And to actually keep a 50% margin, you don't mark up 50. You mark up 100. You double your cost. Tape that to the estimator's wall. One more trap before the close. Gross margin is not net profit. Gross margin is what's left after the direct job costs. Net profit is what's left after you also pay overhead. So your target gross margin has to clear overhead and still leave you profit. Residential roofing gross margins often live in the mid-30s to around 40%, with net after overhead in the single to low double digits. If overhead eats 20% of revenue and you want 10% net, your gross target has to clear roughly 30 before you've covered anything. That's why a thin-looking margin turns into a bank loss. Here's where RoofPredict fits and where it doesn't. Your cheapest job to win is one where you aren't fighting 3 other trucks over a roof that didn't need replacing. RoofPredict pairs an estimated roof age range with storm physics modeled per home to flag which roofs are likely due, so your estimator spends hours on real doors. That's less pressure to discount the live ones. It does not inspect, diagnose, or decide coverage. Roof age is a range, not a date. The list points the estimator. The worksheet still protects the margin. Close the loop. Cost per square is a result you calculate, not a number you look up. Measure sellable squares. Keep waste on its own line. Quote the real system live. Burden the labor, because comp is steep, and your EMR moves it. Load safety, equipment, overhead, and finance. Then price for margin. Never markup, so a 40% markup stops masquerading as a 40% margin. Build the worksheet before you quote the number. The busy roofer who skips this goes broke at full capacity. The one who builds it gets paid for the season.